The Washington Wizards take on the Atlanta Hawks, 7 p.m. Eastern start time at the State Farm Arena. Atlanta's minus 6.5, totals 240 flat. And if you like the Wizards in an upset on the road here, they're plus 230 for some money line cash. And before we go ahead and dive into this matchup here today, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to our NBA video here today for Wednesday, May 12th. Happy hump day to you. The weekend's right around the corner. My name is Brock Page and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. And if you want to see which one of these YouTube picks I'm actually betting on personally here today, don't forget to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. Now we are coming fresh off a winning day on my Patreon page yesterday. We're now 3-0 with a push in our last 4 board member tier package picks on that Patreon site. We're also hitting at over 68% in our last 19 extra daily pick tier package plays on that Patreon page as well. And if you want to access today's extra daily pick, it's only going to cost you just $2.99. Now we currently have over 1,150 members who are signed up and active on that site. And if you want to join those folks and get in on the action, link for that page is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. Now the Wizards are going to, once again have to go to work against Atlanta here without their leading scorer, Bradley Beal. He's been battling a real serious hamstring issue, and it certainly couldn't come at a worse time. And of course, as hot as Washington's been down the stretch here, they did fail to cover the point spread in 2 out of their last 3 ball games. And they also went just 3-3 straight up in their last 6. Now, the Wizards' biggest problem area is their defense, or lack thereof. They currently rank dead last in the NBA defensively in points allowed. They're giving up 119 points a night. And in addition to being 5 games below 500 for the year, the Wizards have been victorious in just 15 out of 35 road games. They're currently in the bottom 10 in road defensive rebounding, and they're also dead last in the NBA in fourth quarter points allowed. Now they're taking on an Atlanta club who's been real good on their home court this year. 22-11 straight up at the State Farm Arena, 64% against the number in those home games. Trae Young is scoring over 25.5 points a night, 3 rebounds, 9 assists for the starting point guard. Meanwhile, John Collins is averaging over 17.5 points a game himself, along with 7 boards. And speaking of boards, Atlanta's been one of the better rebounding teams in the game. They're in the top 10 in defensive rebounding, top 5 in home offensive rebounding as well. When it comes to the total on this one, Atlanta saw 5 out of their last 9 ball games stay under the line, 7-3 to the under in their last 10 meetings with the Southeast Division. Meanwhile, the Wizards saw 6 out of their last 10 meetings with the Hawks stay under the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Atlanta Hawks minus 6.5 and the under 240. Next ball game, it is going to be Spurs versus the Nets, 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The Brooklyn Nets are minus 3, totals 233 even. If you like the Spurs in an upset win on the road here, they're plus $1.35 for some money line cash as well. Now, San Antonio's won 2 out of their last 3 ball games, 70% against the spread in their last 10. The Spurs have also been one of the better road covering teams in the game this year. They're currently 23-11 against the spread when they travel. And that's good for 68% in that particular category. DeMar DeRozan, he's scoring 21.5 points per contest, 4 rebounds, 7 assists for the forward. Meanwhile, DeJounte Murray averages nearly 16 a night himself, 7 rebounds, 5 assists for the guard. Now they're taking on a Brooklyn squad who may be going to work here today without Kyrie Irving. He's been listed as questionable. And also, in addition to that, James Harden hasn't been committed to being in the lineup here tonight either. He's officially, what they're saying, a game-time decision. Now, guys, the Nets currently have a losing record against the spread at home this year. They're also in the bottom 10 in the league in points allowed. When it comes to the total on this one, Brooklyn's 5-1 to the under in their last 6 ball games, 80% to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, San Antonio saw 3 out of their last 5 stay under the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the underdog San Antonio Spurs +3 and the under 233. Next matchup, it is going to be Celtics versus the Cavaliers, 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The Boston Celtics are -8, totals 219.5. But as bad as Boston has looked here recently, the Cavaliers simply aren't trying. They're just not trying to win. I mean, it's obvious. They're currently on an 11-game losing streak, and they also lost 16 out of their last 18. And of course, during that 18-game stretch, Cleveland successfully covered the point spread just twice. They're currently last in the NBA in scoring, last in shooting the three ball. They're currently just one win better than the last place Pistons in the East. They're also going to work here tonight without the efforts of Garland, Dellavedova, Stevens, and Hartenstein. Those guys are out. They also may have to go to work here without Love and Osman, as they're both listed as questionable. Now, Cleveland's taking on a Boston team who, despite their struggles this year, they still rank in the top 10 in the NBA in shooting the three ball. And in addition to that, they also still find themselves 2 games ahead of the 8th place Hornets in the Eastern Conference standings. So, as much as it feels like the wheels are coming off, they're still in the mix in the Eastern Conference. They're going to be going to the playoffs, depending on, if they're in a playing game or not. But anyway, Jason Tatum, he's scoring over 26 points a game, 7 rebounds, 4 assists for the starting forward. Meanwhile, Kemba Walker scoring 19 points a night himself, 4 rebounds, 5 assists for Walker. Now, the Celtics are in the top 5 in third quarter scoring, top 10 in fourth quarter scoring as well. And when it comes to the number in this one, Boston went 8-1 to the over in their last 9 ball games, 19-14 to the over when they travel. Meanwhile, the Cavs went 60% to the over in their last 10 contests themselves, 8-2 to the over in their last 10 meetings with Boston. I'm going to lean toward the Boston Celtics -8 and the over 219.5. Next matchup, it is going to be Pelicans versus the Mavericks, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The Dallas Mavericks are -8.5, totals 224 flat. Now, the Mavs are a little banged up here tonight. Redick, Porzingis, and Terry, they're all questionable for tonight's action. The Mavs have also struggled to cover the point spread at home this year. They're just 14-20 against the spread in their games at the AT&T Center. Dallas has also struggled with rebounding. They're in the bottom 10 in offensive rebounding at home. They're taking on a Pelicans team who's gone 8-1 against the spread in their last 9 outings, despite the absence of their 2 leading scorers. Now, Lonzo Ball's averaging nearly 15 points a game, 4 rebounds, 5 assists for the starting guard. Meanwhile, Eric Bledsoe is getting a dozen a night himself, 3 rebounds, 3 assists for Bledsoe. Now, total-wise, the Pelicans saw 6 out of their last 10 meetings with Dallas get over the line. Meanwhile, the Mavericks are 2-0 to the over in their last couple of games themselves, 6-3 to the over in their last 9. I'm going to lean toward the underdog New Orleans Pelicans +8.5 and the over 224. Next contest, it is going to be Blazers versus the Jazz, 9:30 Eastern start time. The Utah Jazz are -2, totals 234. Now, Utah still has the best record in the association right now, 50-19 overall for this season. They've also won 5 out of their last 6 ball games. They have an impressive 31-4 record on their home court. Now, in addition to those 31 home wins, the Jazz also went 24-11 against the point spread in those home games. And that's good for 69% in that category. Utah currently leads the NBA defensively in points allowed at home. They're giving up just 104 points per contest at the Vivint Smart Home Arena. And they're also holding their opponents to just 32% shooting from beyond the arc there. Jordan Clarkson, he's averaging 18 points a game, 4 rebounds, couple assists for the role player. Meanwhile, Bogdan Bogdanovic is currently averaging 17 points a night himself, along with 3 boards. Now, they're taking on a Portland team who failed to cover the point spread in 3 out of their last 5. They've also really struggled on the defensive end of the court this season as well. They're currently in the bottom 10 in defensive field goal percentage, and they also allow 115 points a night when they travel. Now, the Blazers have also struggled with rebounding as well. They're in the bottom 10 in the association in defensive rebounding per game. When it comes to the total in this one, 2 out of Portland's last 3 stayed under the line, 60% to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, the Jazz went 60% to the under in their last 10 meetings with Portland. I'm going to lean toward the Utah Jazz -2 and the under 234. With that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Rockets versus the Lakers, 10:30 Eastern start time. The LA Lakers are -13 at home, totals 223. Now, the Lakers are on the second of a back-to-back here this evening. They had a tough one with the Knicks last night, where they did fail to cover the point spread, despite getting the hard-fought, straight-up victory. Still failed to cover in that win last night. And the Lakers have also failed to cover in 7 out of their last 10. Meanwhile, LeBron James, he's not quite yet confirmed for tonight's action, still listed as questionable, so keep an eye on him, keep an eye on his status if you're looking to fire on this game. Now, Dennis Schroeder, he's still out, and Alex Caruso, he's been listed as questionable. Now, the Lakers have also successfully covered the point spread in just 14 out of 35 home games this year. They're in the bottom 10 in the NBA in scoring on average per contest, bottom 3 in shooting the 3-ball at home. Now, they're taking on a Houston club who successfully covered the point spread in their last 3 straight, and they somehow rank in the top 10 in the NBA in first quarter scoring on the road. Christian Wood is averaging 21 points a game, along with 9 rebounds for Houston. Meanwhile, Kelly Olynyk's averaging over 13 points a night himself, 7 rebounds, 2 assists for the forward. Now, total-wise, Houston saw their last 5 straight all get over the total. The Rockets are also 7-2 to the over in their last 9. Meanwhile, the Lakers, on the other side of things, they saw 3 out of their last 5 get over the line themselves, throwing out the Knicks game just yesterday. I'm going to lean toward the Houston Rockets +13, keeping this one close, and the over 223. With that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap, powered to you by my Patreon website. I like Atlanta -6.5, under 240. San Antonio +3, under 233. Boston Celtics -8, under 219.5. New Orleans Pelicans +8.5, over 224. Utah Jazz -2, under 234. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are 3-0 with a push in our last 4 board member tier package picks on my Patreon website. We're also hitting at over 68% in our last 19 extra daily pick tier package plays on that Patreon page. I'm going to lean toward the Houston Rockets +13 and the over 223. With that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys decide to get a package here today, just keep in mind, Patreon's going to bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.